Ready? Okay. What is up, Sports Jabber fans?
Not really sure where you're going after
I
what.
almost did the cheerleading thing.
That would've been awesome.
It
Should have led the show that way.
Dang it. Next time. Do my cartwheels. I've been practicing.
All right.
Been watching a lot of cheerleading competitions on ESPN lately.
Wow.
I'm obviously kidding.
Sure. Sure you are, Gossip Girl.
So, we are gonna go into our first topic. John's favorite person in the world, LeVar Ball. So, pulled this kid out of UCLA.
Because he was suspended indefinitely.
And he's not gonna go anywhere. He's going to train him himself.
No, they did sign him, and LaMelo signed with an agent, and they're going to try to play overseas.
Hopefully not in China.
Yeah, I don't think he's going over there.
See what I did there?
That was a good one. So, yes, he pulled his kid out of UCLA because he wasn't playing, and so he's going to get him ready for the NBA himself. All right.
Mr. 2 points a game.
And, so LaMelo is not going to go to college because now he signed with an agent, so he's not eligible for the NCAA rules. So since those who signed with an agent, they're going to try to go play overseas. And from what a lot of people have said about LiAngelo is he was at best a 4-year student at UCLA and maybe getting picked in the draft. And they said him going overseas is probably isn't going to go over well.
Sweet.
Not
so
many,
it's just going to be awful.
They said very few 18 or 19-year-olds that have gone overseas have played well. So ever since, way back, in the day, player could go, from the US could go overseas and, dominate. But ever since the 92 Dream Team, overseas, basketball has really taken off. So now there's good competition over there. So it's not going to just go over there and dominate. No, I mean, they got good players over there. So going over 18 or 19, you're playing with grown men. So can you compete? And, a lot of people think he could barely compete at the college level. So now he's going to play with, grown men. They're not expecting him to, if he does get signed, which, there's speculation that he's not going to get signed, that he's, going to be a bench rider, and he's not going to play much because he's not going to be good enough to play that much.
Well, hey, at least if he sits bench, at least he'll have probably the most expensive shoes on the whole team.
That he probably will.
And probably the best looking shoes that I could get at Office Depot and Toys R Us and Walmart.
The shoes will look great on the bench.
Good style points.
No, probably not. If you played in the shoes, it'd probably fall apart in the second quarter.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
And those Kmart type shoes never last very long.
Yeah, and then you get the big club feet, and then you get bunions sometime on your foot.
So I can't imagine it would last very long. And look what they've done for Lonzo. He plays terrible.
Yeah, he had apparently one good game last night, I guess.
Yeah, he's had a couple of good games here and there, but overall, he's been pretty disappointing.
Shocker. Shocking. Oh.
But shocker. He's supposed to be the MVP and Rookie of the Year and lead his team to the playoffs. It's weird. And LeVar said they're just trying to buy time with LiAngelo and LaMelo to get them to the Lakers. Because that's what the Lakers want, I'm sure. Those two.
Why did I pick this topic?
I don't know.
I'm getting a migraine. Can we switch?
Then the Lakers also implemented their LeVar Ball rule, where it comes to family members, or media talking to family members. Media's no longer allowed to do that, so that means they can't talk to LeVar. Darn. What's ESPN going to do now? Because, ESPN loves showing LeVar for some reason.
Maybe the ratings will actually go up now.
Maybe, so they can stop laying people off.
Good call.
Yeah, stop focusing on that idiot and talk about actual sports.
So maybe the ratings will go up unlike DC did in the box office with Justice League.
Haven't seen it. I've heard mixed things on it.
Maybe that's another episode. Another day.
A movie review episode.
Yep. There will be a Black Panther review episode. Maybe Black Panther will even appear in it.
Yeah, I think so. Wow. We do have a black cat. I mean, put him up there. Black Panther. Close enough.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Alright. Well, staying on basketball, let's switching to a better topic. Cavaliers don't suck anymore.
11 games.
Yeah, and they still haven't got Isaiah back yet either.
IT's not back.
It's weird, yeah. Like they're in the first 10 games. Everyone's like, "What's wrong with the Cavs?" They're like,
It was
3
the
and
first
7.
10 games.
Oh, I know that's what we had said. It's like, calm down, they'll find their way. And yeah, shockingly, 11 game winning streak. They found their way.
Shocking.
Yeah, which means once again that they're going to play well, and it's going to be them and the Warriors.
Yeah. Even though I don't think Curry's back. I think he's out 2 weeks with an ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
I think Draymond's playing.
And they'll be just fine without him.
Yeah, they should be just fine. Another team that I'm surprised isn't doing as well as I thought they'd do is the Timberwolves. Kind of struggling. Kind of, sort of, maybe.
And they're still in the very early playoff hunt, but I mean, yeah, they're not playing as well as you would think. But then Thibodeau is a very peculiar coach to play for, to put it kind of nicely.
Yeah.
So
he's kind of fiery.
He is. Yeah,
expects a lot.
The players, gelling around what he's trying to do. And Jimmy Butler is obviously used to him having played for him in the Bulls, but the rest of the team is not. So
yeah, Jimmy Butler and Taj Gibson, only 2 players that are used to his intenseness.
Yes.
Put it nicely.
Yeah.
Up in your face. Voice his horse before the game starts. Because he yells so much.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably still make the playoffs. Obviously in the West, they're not going to do anything.
But Sixers are a surprise team right now.
They are
in the 5th spot.
The process is finally maybe, coming to fruition.
Man.
After years of just horridness.
It's an understatement. It's probably a decade. Or more.
Years, covers. But yeah, they're maybe, fans are finally maybe seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with this whole process. And maybe can finally get it into the playoffs.
Looks great.
Yeah, he does.
Ben Simmons looks great too. Covington. I watched the game last night. I was impressed.
Man,
they look pretty good.
Maybe it's their finally turning the corner. And then on the opposite side, the Atlanta Hawks have completely flipped and are a terrible team now.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, they're just awful.
I don't think there's a word.
Cleveland Brownish.
Yeah, that's a good one. I can do Cleveland Brownish.
Yeah. I said it this week. My Packers are playing the Browns, and don't overlook them. Come on, don't look past them.
I'm hoping Pat can get it. I'm hoping.
I hope so. Hopefully, Brett Hundley plays well enough to win, and your defense can play well enough. I know the defense looked pretty good last week. I mean,
I was talking to a Packer fan at work today, and he's very worried about that game because he said that'll be the game Josh Gordon will just go off.
The defense, yeah. But, they looked decent against the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston was back. Did enough to win. Their rookie running backs are looking really good. Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had 1 rush the entire game and was the game winner. Can't go wrong with that.
Pretty good
way to enter the game. So, with a 30-yard touchdown run, win the game. Yeah, and Jamal Williams was the next ground player of the week. 130 yards rushing and a touchdown. So, yeah, Ty Montgomery might not need to be the running back anymore.
Niners won.
The Niners did win with the Jimmy Garoppolo in there now.
Yay!
So yeah, maybe the future there. Just have to re-sign him.
I'm assuming they'll re-sign him.
You would hope so. I mean, worst case scenario, they can put the franchise tag on him and buy a little bit more time. But yeah, that's possibly the little peek into the future for the 49ers. Now just get some more players around him, specifically the wide receivers.
Some wideouts.
Yeah, some wide receivers around him to throw to.
Crossing my fingers. Crossing old fingers.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe like I said, maybe it's the start of something good for the 49ers. It's still going to be probably a couple of years.
A few years away.
If they don't get twos like next year playoffs now, pump the brakes.
One game.
Exactly.
One game.
Yeah, so, but at least he got to see what he can do. Against the Bears, their team's struggling as well. But and then
He did look good.
he did, yeah.
Especially throw a TD, but
especially with nobody really to throw to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. That definitely looked good for what he has with to work with. And then kind of speaking of teams in turmoil, the New York Giants fired their coach and GM.
I was shocked I thought they were just going to fire McAdoo.
No,
but no, they fired the GM too.
Yeah, and then a week after being benched, Eli Manning is now the starter again.
Shocking.
So, yeah, ruined his streak for really nothing.
One game, that's got to suck for him.
Yeah, and being replaced by Geno Smith.
That's insult to injury.
Yeah. Now, if it was Davis, the guy that they're, maybe the future guy they drafted, they played him. That makes sense. Like, all right, let's see what we have here for the future.
No, they're going to do Geno Smith.
No, they're going to do Geno Smith. Like, he's not the future.
I didn't even know he was still in the NFL, to be honest with you.
I honestly didn't either.
I was like, Geno Smith? I was like the Jets quarterback?
Yeah, now playing for the Giants.
I literally thought he was out of the league.
Same results.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then the Browns also fired their general manager.
Yeah, but they kept Hugh. Some people thought they were going to fire both of them.
I mean, what has Hugh had to work with? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, what do you expect him to do with the group of people that he has? I mean, if he got them to like a winning record, I mean, he'd be the greatest coach of all time with how bad that team is. But I mean, if they fire him, God, who wants to go coach the Browns?
Johnny Manziel.
He'll probably take any work he can get. But I mean, okay, you're maybe an offensive coordinator for a team that's in the playoff hunt. Okay, so just an example. Say you're the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. You have this, great offense to work with. You guys are looking good. And then the Browns approach you like, hey, do you want to be the coach of us? Okay, do you want to leave a pretty nice situation in Philly? Or this black hole of coaches in the Cleveland Browns?
Black hole.
So, I mean, yeah, it gives you your shot to be a head coach, but it's probably not going to go well. And that could ruin your shot at being a head coach later because, you went 0-25 with the Cleveland Browns. So, I mean, does anyone really want that job? Now you're probably going to get this, this cocky guys like, oh, I can turn them around. I can do it. They're going to find some of the things that. And like every coach before him, they're going to fail. I mean, it's been a long time since we kind of ripped the Browns, really. So, I mean.
I know. Does anybody have marshmallows? Campfire?
I don't know. But yeah, sorry. Browns suck. I mean,
it's hard to roast a team that just is that bad.
Yeah, especially when all their fans know it.
Yeah.
They know they're bad. I mean, they just had their little experiment with the front office being, former MLB people, and let's try this out and it didn't work. So now we're going to go back to the NFL, people and see if it gets any better.
Probably won't.
And now they have to determine, okay, is Kaiser the quarterback of the future, or are we going to draft another quarterback with this draft? Are they going to go, Baker Mayfield? Are they going to draft him? Because they're going to have the first pick, obviously.
Yeah, it's pretty locked up.
Yeah, so I mean, do they go quarterback? Or do they believe in Kaiser?
he hasn't been terrible, but he has nothing to
He's
throw
also
it to
been
either.
he's also been benched a couple of times mid game.
And then he comes back the next game.
Exactly.
Starting. So I'm sure they'll draft another quarterback.
That's what the Browns do. Quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. I mean, so, and then, God, if you're Baker Mayfield, you're just probably hoping, oh, please let them think Kaiser's the answer, please. I don't want to be picked by them.
Well, I know the quarterback of USC, he said, there's some article where someone was telling me that if the Browns get the first pick, he was going to come back to school.
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that. I mean, you're going to forego several $1 million.
Right.
When the Browns are probably going to have the first pick in the next year's draft as well. You'd be just delaying the inevitable, basically.
Oh, man.
So, why don't you just go and earn your money?
It's true,
yeah,
though.
I was going to say, is it not true? And so, yeah, okay. You're going to, like, oh, Browns are the first pick. I don't want to go, so I'm going to go back to school next year. Oh, Browns are the first pick again. You're a senior. You don't have to, you can't go back to school, so are you not going to, go into the draft, or what's the deal?
Wow.
And, like, this year, and he should want to go in the draft because he's not going to be the first quarterback taken.
That's true.
It's going to be Baker Mayfield. So, if anything, now, if you want, it's like, but then again, he's a senior, so he can't. So it is what it is. Unless you want to pull at Eli Manning and refuse to actually go to the team and demand a trade. Yeah. So, you always have that option.
That's true. See how that pans out.
Mm-hmm. And really, what Eli did panned out well for both teams. The Chargers got Phillip Rivers, who's been great, and then the Giants got Eli Manning. 2 Super Bowls.
Not great, but just right place, right time. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Good, yeah. He's had his heyday when he was stud.
Yeah, I mean, now obviously he's 37, so he's on the far
decline.
Yeah, decline. All of his receivers are hurt this year.
That's just a rough shape.
Yeah, and this year was just ruined from the very first game. When you lose all your receivers at one time, yeah, it's gonna make for a rough year.
Yep. Put on your not even bandwagon, just get through the year.
Yeah, just already look forward to next year. And then going over to the AFC West, that division is a lot more interesting than I think people thought.
Yeah, there's 3 teams that are like 6-6.
Yep, and then the Broncos.
And the Broncos are like 3-9.
Yeah, lost 8 straight.
Solid.
Yeah. So, and then the team that, kind of looking the best, they can make a run. Chargers.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, nobody thought.
Phillip Rivers, man, he's a gamer.
Their defense is playing really well, too. But, so at the beginning of the year, it was, Chiefs, Raiders, those 2 are going to make the playoffs. No matter who wins the division, no one's get the wild card. And Chiefs look awful.
They've lost like 5 or 6 straight.
Yeah.
And they won 5 straight in the beginning.
Yeah, they're just terrible. And then the Raiders have just been so up and down.
Oh, yeah, that guy that trolled us in the early of the year. What now?
Yeah, Derek Carr not looking that good.
Yeah. That was a big contract.
So, Phillip Rivers and the Chargers are...
I've always liked Phillip Rivers. He's a gamer. He's a warrior. He competes every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whatever time they play. He always competes.
Sunday, Monday, or Thursday.
Yeah. He probably even competes when he's playing video games. He's doing hopscotch. He's probably a competitor. Probably beating sweat. Guarantee it.
Sure. All right.
Just trying. He's a warrior.
Yeah, he's...
People probably sweat just looking at him. Like how Phil Rivers. Instant sweat.
Sure. Okay.
Sorry.
But
Continue.
NFL topic again. Had some pretty nasty hits over the weekend.
Oh, man.
So, a couple
Bengals game?
A couple of suspensions were handed down. First, I'll go with the second hit that got suspended first. That was Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yes.
Which, God, that name.
Juju.
It's a weird name.
Juju owned that beat.
So,
Juju owned that beat.
On one of the plays, Le'Veon Bell is, running. Vontez, perfect is, chasing him. not looking, Juju Smith just lays him out.
And he led with his helmet. The insult to injury.
Yeah, and then he stands over Burfict and, taunts him, which that was, if you just, hit him and walked away, I don't think it would seem as bad. Saying. But because he stood over him,
taunted him,
and did the whole Smokey, you got knocked out, and, then.
And he couldn't, and Burfict was like, not moving.
Oh, no, he moved because he actually went after Juju Smith's, ankles. If you watch it, he goes after his ankles, tries to get him, and.
I didn't see that.
And then in the post-game conference, you hear Antonio Brown in the background. They're talking about just yelling karma. So all this stuff, Vontaze Burfict has done because he is seen as a very dirty player. So he got a kind of little taste of his own type of medicine there. But so Juju got suspended for a game. Rob Gronkowski in the Bills game.
I finally saw that play.
So Tom Brady throws, gets picked off.
Mm-hmm.
Guy is clearly touched by another Patriot. He's down.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Gronkowski decides to come and just lay this guy out while he's on the ground, and the guy's going to concussion protocol. So well after the play, horribly dirty hit. He was suspended 1 game. So you have Juju Smith, who's making a block, who that hit before used to not be illegal. That was just a good, strong hit.
Yeah.
Now it's because of the whole player safety thing. So he gets suspended for a game for throwing a block where Gronkowski, who just blatantly throws his elbow into this guy's head, guy's bleeding from the mouth and goes into concussion protocol. He gets 1 game as well. Those don't seem like even hits
I thought
to me.
Gronk should have gotten at least 3 games, maybe 2, suspended without pay.
I think 2 games would have been a good number for it. Because he doesn't have any history of these type of things, but that is just horrible.
The play was clearly over, and he put his 200-plus pound frame into this little cornerback or safety, and
So I think he should have gotten 2 games because, to me, those 2 hits are not comparable. One was clearly worse than the other, and they both got the same suspension. I'm sure the fine for Gronkowski was bigger, but to them that's chump change. Those fines that they have. So, he should have been gone at least 2 games, and then at the post-game handshake, Bill Belichick did apologize to the Bills head coach for that, which he should. Because, that's very unpatriot-like to have someone do that. So.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then, it brings in the whole player safety thing where, Gronkowski, the guy puts this guy in a concussion protocol by, laying on this guy's head hitting the turf. And then, Juju Smith, that used to be just a good, clean, hard block, but now all of a sudden it's, not. It's illegal. Gets flagged. But, I still think that's just a good block. Guys, the guy's not looking. That's his fault for not, you got to keep your head on swivel.
Yeah.
Then he just gets laid out. That's part of the thing. You got blocked. Good, hard block.
It just made it bad because he went over and taunted him. If he wouldn't have done that, then people might have been like, that was just a good, clean block. But he did the taunting thing, and that just made it look worse.
And then, one of the very last plays of the game, that touchdown pass to Antonio Brown, got hit by a Bengals player, helmet to helmet. He was originally suspended for a game, but they revoked that suspension. But, a lot of hard hits in that game. Helmet to helmet at times, and it was a little bit rougher, but I don't know, to me, everyone's talking about how horribly rough that game was. That's football.
How it used to be.
Yeah. And you go back and watch some of the old, tapes of football, and that was nothing compared to what they used to do. These people were just clotheslining people.
They were trying to kill each other.
Yeah,
literally.
Just trying to hit them as hard as possible, trying to injure them. And now you have a couple of, hard hits, that game was so intense and so physical. Not really. And the worst part of that game, the worst injury came from that game, wasn't even on a legal hit. Just Ryan Shazier, who may never play again.
He tackled wrong. He led with his head, and you're supposed to keep your head up, drive your shoulder, and then wrap up.
Yeah, they say it's, heads up. So instead of just looking down like this and just going for it, not knowing what you're doing, keep your head up so you can see.
Yep.
And so that way, if the guy makes an adjustment, you can see that he made an adjustment, so you can, instead of just we're going down, you're just going blindly. And they said that, he has successful surgery, but the injury may be worse than they thought, and he may never play football again.
It's sad because I think he's only 26.
Something like that.
he had potential to be an up and coming great linebacker for Pittsburgh, and
yeah, so I mean, talk about concussions and things like that. But this is way worse than a concussion.
I mean, I think nowadays as parents, you have to make the early decision. Do you want your kid to play football?
Roethlisberger said after the game that he hopes his kid plays golf.
Yeah.
But then again, one of the other Steelers, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but he was saying, at the end of the game, that this is the game. You get hurt, but at the time he said, I had started with $350 in my bank account. Now I have plenty of money to provide for my family. This game has been great to me. Don't knock it. That's just the way the game is. It's a very physical game. The risk of injury, you know it going in. So just deal with it. And to me, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Like I said, to me, if you go in the NFL, you should have to sign a petition saying you know that you run the risk of being hurt. You've seen the possible long-time consequences from previous players who can barely walk nowadays. You know that that's a risk going in. But then again, they pay you substantially well to do that. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that work very hard, even harder than they do for a lot less. Look at the military. They work a lot harder. They put their lives on the line for significantly less than they make. Significantly. So, it's like, oh, it's so terrible. It's like, yeah, but you are being compensated for that physicality. More so than really you probably should.
I mean, I guess I go back to it and I think about a lot of the Niner players that were still really young. A lot of them retired because of the research they did. You think Chris Borland, he retired very early because he did the research and he was scared of what concussions would do.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Willis, he retired very early because he didn't want to be one of those players crippled up where he could barely walk.
And that makes sense. If you want to leave early because you're feared that, leave early. But don't continue to play the game, just constantly complain about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean Rodney Harrison, he hit it on the head in the Thursday night football game. He said he watched that play and he looked at his wife and said, I hope my kids never play football. I mean, it's
let your kid make the decision himself. If he wants to play football, then play football. You've seen the consequences as a kid. You can tell the kid, hey, these are consequences. If he wants to play, let him play.
I guess if it was me, I would have a hard time watching my kid play every week or weekend knowing that, hey, he could get a serious concussion or
you can get that in any sport.
But it's more likely in football, though.
You can play basketball. You can, go up for dunk, land wrong, and break your leg in half. Or you can, go up for a layup, take a hard hit your head against the goalpost. Hey, you just got a, really terrible concussion. Baseball, you can get a 90-mile-per-hour fastball into your head. Right. Soccer, you can get a ball kicked at your face. There's a hockey. A lot of stuff. Hockey. So there's an inherent risk in every sport. May seem more so in football, but there's that risk in every sport. So it's just a matter of people play football years, nothing ever happens to them. Look at Brett Favre. He played years. I mean, he got some nicks and bruises here and there, but never had any serious. Tom Brady had just 1 year had the torn MCL. That's it. But then you have other players who only last 2 years with this horrible injury.
Well, and then you go and think of the older players where the concussion thing did cause them to have to retire, like the Wes Welkers, the Troy Aikmans, the Steve Youngs, and you could go down the list. I mean, sure, yeah, they are taking the risk, and then when you see it happen to a player, you're like, then the old time players that come down with the dementias, and I mean, football's a violent sport.
It is, but like you said, I mean, the risk going in, and you get paid very well to do that.
Oh, man.
To me, it sucks when these people can't walk anymore. But like I said, they knew the risk, and they were compensated well for it.
Well, that's why the NFL has very good benefits.
Well, they have to have good health insurance.
They take care of their health insurance.
Yeah, so, no, it's a physical game. That's what it's always been. the more you change it, the less likely it's going to continue on. Eventually, there's going to have to play flag football, and nobody wants to watch that.
Well, I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. So it pretty much should be with the QBs.
Yeah, and nobody wants to watch that. So either leave it the way it is and, let people know, hey, it is what it is. You want to continue to play it? Awesome. If you don't want to play it, oh well, then don't play it. We're not going to continue to try to change it to where it's a shell of what it was.
Which is why it comes back around to cheerleading.
All right, that's enough. Okay, yeah, we're done. So, once again, leave comments below, ask questions, subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook. He is a terrible cheerleader. So, everyone, have a good night.
Fans, have a good weekend.